keys to some of the movements of the Ark in times past, but my opinion is that these arks are probably copies made at some point in the past by well-meaning people trying to replicate their family ties to Israel. There are legends that the Knights Templar found the Ark and took it to France after the Crusades. The Knights Templar had access to the Temple Mount after the First Crusade for an extended period of time. Supposedly they did dig on the Temple Mount and may have found the Ark and other temple treasures. Hebrew tradition states King Solomon had the Ark put on a platform that could be lowered into a tunnel system if the temple was in danger of being captured by enemies. Modern excavations have proven the existence of tunnels in and around the Temple Mount. Another variation of this idea that the Templars found the Ark comes from author Graham Phillips. Phillips believes that the Ark was taken to Mount Sinai in the Valley of Edom by the Maccabees, along with other treasures, where he states it remains until around 1180 AD, when Ralph de Sudley, the leader of the Templars, found the treasure and returned to England with it. No doubt the Templars acquired wealth and treasure during the time that they had power in the Middle East, but we can't be sure that they actually found the Ark. Orthodox Jews believe that the Ark remains on the Temple Mount, hidden in a cave or shaft directly under the Holy of Holies. They believe it's been there since the time of King Josiah, the last godly king that Judah had uh, before the Babylonian captivity. These beliefs primarily come from the Talmud, which is a book of Jewish traditions. In 1981, Rabbi Yehuda Getz, one of the rabbis who was in charge of the Western Wall, was conducting a search of an old tunnel that was filled with debris that ran perpendicular to the Western Wall and under the Temple Mount. He says that they came within 40 feet of finding the cave where the Ark lay, but when the Muslims found out that they were digging under the dome of the rock, they threatened a riot, and the tunnel was sealed with concrete to keep the peace. Rabbi Getz in his diary wrote, "I will now retire from the project with a bitter taste in my mouth. I have never felt the humiliation of Judaism that I have felt today. In our own sovereign country, however, I must refrain from revealing secrets, even to this diary. There is some speculation that the rabbi may have actually found and saw the Ark, not just stopping 40 feet from the chamber which it supposedly rested, which means that the Israeli government would know exactly where it is and did nothing to retrieve it due to the political concerns at the time. The disappointment felt by Rabbi Getz and others in the Jewish community is not unexpected, because they believe that the discovery of the Ark will come a short time before the arrival of the Messiah. Other Jewish sources wrote that the Ark would be discovered during the construction of the Third Temple, or in a time of future wars before the coming of the Messiah. Rabbi Getz passed away in September of 1995, never realizing his goal of retrieving the Ark. Our next story of a possible Ark discovery is one of the most fantastic and fascinating stories you could ever hear. It involves Ron Wyatt, an amateur biblical archaeologist who has claimed that he has found the Ark in the 1980s. Mr. Wyatt also has possibly found other important biblical sites and subjects, such as Noah's Ark, the Red Sea crossing point, the real Mount Sinai, Sodom and Gomorrah. Unfortunately, his amateur status doesn't give his work much credibility in the scientific circles. There are those who believe he is an attention seeker and a fraud, but some of his discoveries have been validated by others, such as the Red Sea crossing in the Gulf of Aqaba and the real Mount Sinai being located in Saudi Arabia at Jabal al-Lawz, the Mountain of Laws. In 1978, Ron Wyatt was walking along Calvary Escarpment with a member of the Israeli Department of Antiquities. The Calvary Escarpment is one of the possible sites of Jesus' crucifixion. Suddenly he pointed to the escarpment and said, "That's Jeremiah's grotto, and the Ark of the Covenant is buried there." He felt the words just come out of him, as if given by the Lord to him. The man who was with him said that 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 they would furnish him permits and meals and lodging to help him find the ark. Ron and his sons would search and dig on and off for the next 3.5 years before finding the entrance to where he found the ark. Ron's two sons became ill and had to leave early. Ron continued working in the cave system with an Arab boy and as his assistants in place of his sons. He found a narrow vertical crevice in the rock wall. Ron then sent the boy through the small opening, but almost as soon as the boy went in, he quickly came out, terrified. Never returning to the cave system. On January 6, 1982, Ron entered a cave that the Arab boy had been in. He found a chamber about 22 feet long, 12 feet wide, 8 feet high. It was filled nearly to the roof with fist-sized rocks, dry-rotted boards, and animal skins, which covered the sanctuary implements, and at the far end a casement with a lid that approximated the size of the ark. After realizing the possible implications of his find, he passed out for 45 minutes. Over the next few weeks, the chamber was emptied of the filler rocks and artifacts found and cleaned, and the original cave opening that the artifacts were brought in found also, but they could not unblock that tunnel. The artifacts found included the ark, the table of showbread, the golden altar of incense, the golden censer, a menorah, which is a seventh branch lamp candle stand, a large sword 5 feet high, 2 inches tall, long, possibly from Goliath. It might have been Goliath's sword, and an ephod and other assorted items. Ron claims to have tried to take pictures and stills of the ark, but every picture came out blurry or whitewashed. On his fourth visit, he took an 8mm video camera with him to document the find. When he went through a small hole that he normally came through, he noticed that something was different. The larger rocks that had been in the cave were removed, and when he dropped to the floor, an unknown light came on, and he saw the cave completely cleaned up and the ark out of the box that it was in, and all the temple furnishings were in their proper place in relation to the ark, and the rest of the artifacts were set to the side. The wall directly behind the ark seemed crystal-like in appearance and glowing, with a rainbow color pattern. He then noticed he was in the presence of 4 young men in street clothes who he took as angels. And the first angel spoke to him and told him to set up his camera and start filming. They took off the mercy seat from the ark and asked Ron to come and take the 10 Commandments out of it. When he did this, this was all captured on video. Ron also noticed that behind the ark was 4 leather scrolls, probably the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. The angels took the stone tablets from Ron and put it on the shelf, on a shelf near the original entrance to the cave. The angel told Ron 2 things: one, that Ron would have a hand in revealing the 10 Commandments to the world through the video he made. And the second was that the ark would not be revealed until shortly after a law is passed that would try to enforce the mark of the beast upon people. Ron then left the cave through the original entrance. He left the video in the cave on top of the 10 Commandments. Also, Ron died from colon cancer in 1999, leaving behind a mystery. Does the ark exist in a cave somewhere under the Calvary escarpment? Another seeker of the ark is Vendell Jones, a former Baptist pastor who turned to biblical archaeology and the study of Judaism. He has had some luck in finding some temple artifacts. In 1988, he found the anointing oil used in the temple. In 1992, he found the holy incense used in temple worship in and around the Qumran area where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. In more recent times, he found an extensive tunnel system where he believes the ark is located, but was unable to fully explore it, and it is now waiting for permission and funds to finish his excavations. The common thread for all these stories about the ark in Israel is these ancient tunnels which people have found, which prove, if nothing else, that the ark was probably removed and hidden at some point and may yet one day be found again. The Revelation 13 podcast is hosted by Mike Hopwood and is a podcast dedicated to the study of end-time events
news events, and ancient mysteries.